Welcome to another episode of the Decades Challenge, HBCU Edition. I'm Adrienne, your host, and these are the Johnsons. And as to be expected, Mary Johnson, the lazy one, is on the porch. I'm not sure if she's asleep. Yeah, she's asleep. No, wait a minute. That's not Mary. That's Gladys. Okay, Gladys is, I guess she's sort of daydreaming. I get that. I see you, Gladys. Now, Gladys is, I think, over 100 years old. So if she wants to daydream on the porch, I am absolutely on board with that. Nope, she's not quite 102. She's 89 days old. So she's our fisherwoman. I'm not sure. Trying to be gender appropriate. She fishes like a beast. So she provides a lot of food for the family. And of course, there's Mary, the lazy one. Don't you love it when you reduce people's entire lives down to one moniker? It's a little insulting, but since this is a game, I'm going to be okay with that. So this is Mary asleep. Mary is the mom. Gladys is the grandmother, who I will occasionally refer to as Gladys. I really do apologize, Gladys. It drives me crazy when people call me Andrea or Andrian when my name is clearly Adrian. And now I'm doing it to Gladys, who is a fictional character. So I apologize, Gladys. It doesn't mean I love you any less. I'm just still learning. So the other members of this family are Ruby May plus one. She is pregnant and she's going to give birth at some time. And part of the Decades Challenge is to not rely on modern means to find out information about pregnancies. So every time I see Ruby May, I think she's in her third trimester, but I really have no idea. And I don't know that she has any idea. This will be the Johnsons' first child, and this will be a fourth generation Johnson. And the dad is, of course, Ruby May's husband, Sam Johnson, a great guy, a fledgling farmer, and getting it done. Now, in this episode, go to the bathroom, Ruby May. In this episode, I wanted to explain the inside of the house a little bit. I do want to expand the house by the equivalent of another room. The reason I say equivalent, and there are air quotes in that, is because they don't have the means to waste money on doors and things like that. So they have a very rustic structure here, and if they're going to add on to it, it's just going to be another space. It's not going to be another proper room with a door and, four walls. But I do want to increase the space because as the first child comes along, it's going to make an already cramped situation even more difficult to navigate. And the hope is that the Johnsons will have a lot of children. So that's going to cramp the space as well. So I do hope that we can get to maybe over 1,000 simoleons in this episode and use some of that to build on another space. So the thing about this house is it's a very rudimentary wood. It's a wood structure, wood slats, which would have been common to find in the 1890s, and something that you could create yourself. You could cut down trees and slat that wood at a mill if you could afford that, or on your own. So it's a very rudimentary structure. And of course the nails would be commercial, so you could buy those nails from a blacksmith and use those to peg down the house. And it could be the sort of thing where if you had bowing slats, you could go buy more nails and secure the house a little bit better each time you go along, instead of build it and it's perfect and then you never have a problem with the house again. I did want to talk extensively about the choice of wallpaper. This is newspaper. And if you look at some documentaries, some of the earliest documentaries about life in the South, you would see that a lot of subsistence dwellers used newspaper to line the walls of their homes. And the reason they did that is because newsprint at the time was extremely cheap. It still is relatively cheap, but it was very easy to gather that newsprint. And the newsprint did a great job of insulating from the wind and from the bad weather. So a lot of homes at this time, homes like the Johnson's homes, obviously some better constructed middle class, upper middle class homes looked much more polished at this time. But for a subsistence farmer, for a sharecropper, a tenant farmer, using newspaper as wallpaper was a very common survival tool. So let me explain some other things in this house. I put a blanket on the wall, and this is a piece of art that you can get from, I think, from the base game. I put that there to represent that many people put quilts up on the wall, not as a decoration necessarily, but just as a way to create a zone of extra warmth. So this would have been a way to cover up maybe some cracks in the building. And you can see here on this wall that there are cracks, there are stains. It is a little, I keep saying rustic. I think I'm going to use the word raggedy this time. But hanging quilts is a good way to combat that a little bit. And I think for the Johnsons to have a bed there and to maybe have some damage to that wall, it would be a really good thing to have an extra layer of protection against the wind. And you can see they have very few windows. They actually only have 2 windows in this house, and those are front facing. So it gets pretty warm inside this cabin. And those windows, let me show you, they have no panes. So they do have curtains, so you can imagine if it's cold outside that they would bulk up on the fabric that covered the windows. But in this case, it's spring, it's not too much of an issue, and so they've just got a couple of cotton flaps on there, and that's just fine. I wanted to talk about the stove. The stove obviously is an enormous purchase, but it's something that you could get from a craftsman. It's something that you could get from a wasted property. So in 1890, it's possible that other structures would have been destroyed by a fire, which was a very common occurrence, and the Johnsons could have, oh, the holiday is coming, Love Day, okay. And the Johnsons could have lifted this from a wasted property, brought it to their shack, and used that as a source of warmth and cooking. So for the most part, the Johnsons are cooking outside on a campfire, but I wanted to put this here to represent that some people did have access to this kind of heat, and which made the cabin a little more pleasant. You also may notice that there's artwork around this place, and that artwork is probably a little fancier than the structure itself, which is fine. But my thinking was, we know that Gladys was a slave, and it's possible that when her family left the plantation, they took some art with them, and that art may have been lying around, it may have been found art, or it may have been lifted from their plantation owner's property, which is all pretty realistic, a pretty realistic indication of what may have happened. Now, about rugs, I do have several rugs in here. We know that Mary's a knitter. We know that Gladys is sort of a knitter. She doesn't knit as much as she fishes and gardens, but rugs would have been something that a craftsman could fabricate out of items old scraps that they had around the house. So the rugs are not anti-thematic to what's going on here. They're very appropriate because we are going to say that they are handmade items that make living in this hardscrabble shack a little easier, because there are zones where you could kind of warm your feet up against the cold. And obviously the floor, even though the floor is wood, it would be very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer. And I don't know if you've noticed from previous episodes, the Johnsons don't wear shoes except when it's cold outside, or when they're kind of leaving the farm. So their everyday clothes are without shoes. And that's a very good reflection of American South at this level of income. And that doesn't change until about the late 1930s, 1940s. And I think in some cases, some people still really rely on no shoes just because it's fun to run around in the dirt with no shoes on. So baskets as well. Baskets are something that could have carried over from slavery times, or could have been something that they bartered from a basket maker. The rocking chair could have been something passed down. That was actually a very common slave item. Or Sam, who is a carpenter, could have made that. Now, in this story, that rocking chair is pretty good looking. So let's say that Sam did not make that, but that could be something that he inherited from his own family. So I'm going to stop talking because the Johnsons are starting to have a lot of needs that I'm ignoring, and I don't want them to die because I'm running off in my mouth. So Mary's eating now, or Mary's about to cook. I think Sam's on his way to the bush. We have food on the table, so let's get Ruby May to eat off of the table. There's a drink here. There's some parsley, always parsley. And there's a strawberry. And I was wondering what the quality of this strawberry is, if we're eating normal quality or if we're still eating poor quality strawberry. Yeah, it's normal. Okay, so our strawberry crops have actually gotten a little better, which is great. And if you don't know, we sell laundry because it would be very common for women of color, for black women, to use laundry as a means of income. It's not a huge income. It's $1 per load, which really is not a lot, but it is a source of income for a struggling family. And I think these fruits and veggies are misplaced, and that's why my Sims can't eat them. They're not able to reach them. So I'm going to move some stuff around the table to make it a little easier to eat, and hopefully Ruby May can grab this stuff and eat because she's very hungry and we have to feed that baby. Now, I sent Sam to the bathroom. Clearly he didn't go. These folks go to the bathroom here in a bush, and they bathe here in a trough. And we're getting some, oh yay, we can evolve some stuff. I'm very happy to evolve these strawberries. Yes. So these should go to normal. Oh, nice. Very good. So we've evolved to nice. We can evolve this one, and this will be nice too. No, this one's normal. This one's nice. So when we're harvesting, we really need to watch what we're doing because we want to replant the better quality items. So I'm not going to harvest all. I'm going to be very strategic about what I'm harvesting and how I'm using it. And the good thing is that this parsley plant, which is normal, is going to evolve soon. Yes, I'm so excited. This is great. This is great news. Oh, we've got bugs. Okay, Sam I'm still trying to get his basic needs taken care of, and he's not being very cooperative. Fine. Be dirty and hungry. See if I care. Let's get Mary to spray. This one is, what's the quality of this? Okay, it's normal. It's about to evolve. This is about to evolve. We are doing good. This one has already evolved to nice. So we're going to want to replant strawberries from there. Sage bush is okay. Okay. So the first level is normal, and then it's nice, and then it goes into excellent and some other things. And I don't remember all of the stages because I don't always benefit from evolution here. So Mary's spraying for bugs. She's going to have to spray for bugs here too. These are soy, and they are normal, and it's not quite soy season, so they're just there. This is our avocado tree. This is where the original avocado tree was planted, and it died. Not in a bad way. We got a lot of avocados out of it, but it did die, and this is a new plant, but it's already normal and it's close to nice, so that's great. The quality of our crops is getting better. Oh, the bees are angry. Sam's got to tend to the bees, unfortunately, and he does this without protection. So we're not going to collect anything. We are going to, apply a mite treatment and bond with the bees. And oh by God, I hope that goes well. I'm always afraid he'll die. So while he's doing that, oh dear, there you go. Make those bees feel better. And I told you to take a bath a long time ago and you decided not to, so I'm not as interested. Looks like there's, I don't know if these are bees or bugs. Let me see if I can figure that out. Okay, whatever it is, they're gone, so whatever. Is Sam doing laundry? Oh, dude. Okay, he's hungry. He's eating. Good. So I was doing an inventory of the plants. This is normal. This is about to evolve. These, we haven't seen anything of the elderberries, and that is because they're out of season, so that's okay. These are the fire leaf. They're good for medicinal purposes, and they're going along as to be expected. Now, these trees are brand new, and I think some are avocado, some are pear. So let's check on the status of those. I don't expect any fruit, and I don't expect any evolution. I think I'm seeing bugs. Definitely. But I don't want Ruby May to handle that because she's pregnant, and you don't want pregnant people around. Bug spray, chemicals. And even in the 1890s, that wasn't entirely organic, you know. So this is a cherry tree. Sorry, I forgot why I zoomed in. And it's doing good. This is a cherry tree doing good. This is cherry. I thought we had some avocado. Okay, pear is going to evolve soon. This pear is going to evolve, and this pear is doing just fine. And then we've got what I think are avocado. Nope, spinach, 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 spinach. Where are our avocado trees? Here they are. Okay, so they're new. We just planted those, but this one is about to evolve. These basil are out of season, and we haven't seen a lot of activity from the things that are planted on this side of the property, but hopefully in the next season we'll start to really see that. Okay, and that is a tour of the home. We didn't get a lot of play going, but we do have a direction to go in our next episode. So I'm going, oh, she wet her pants. Oh, for God's sakes, clean it up, lady. Okay, she wet her pants. Good. We will, let's see, what can we do for play in just a few minutes? I think this episode really was about touring the home and looking at the inventory of the plants, and that tells me in the next episode that we are going to make some intentional choices about that strawberry plant. And if strawberry and avocado turn out to be our cash crops, then we'll focus entirely on those. If in the next season we get an equal amount of activity from some of these green plants, then we'll keep them around, but we're always going to try to evolve the crop, not necessarily the plant. We'll use the evolution of the plant to uplift the crop entirely, and that's what we'll start working on in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your commitment to this series. I'm really enjoying this series, and I hope to use this as a way to tell the story of some African Americans post-Civil War, 30 years post-Civil War, and to celebrate the contributions of African Americans on the history of the United States. And Mary is ill. She's gonna, I think there's an opportunity to take Fireleaf, hopefully, because they don't have computers and they can't take medicine, and I don't know if anybody has Fireleaf in their inventory, but they do have a lot of fish, which is awesome. Is this Fireleaf? Yes, it is. So we'll get Mary to take this Fireleaf, and hopefully that will make her feel better. I really hope so. Let's see. Does she feel better? She feels fine. Yay. Okay, there's the purpose of this episode. So I'm going to end it right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and happy simming. Bye-bye.